I've always believed we should be working in the diaspora with Africa. It's I would want to tell the Africans who were born in the US or born in Europe, or the Caribbean, or the Black Caribbeans, or the Black Hispanics, or the Black Americans for that matter. I would encourage them to invest in Africa, not because Africa needs it, but it's a cheat code to building Black wealth. Europeans are doing it. Europeans been doing it. Asians are doing it. And it's not because it's a mean or evil thing to do, because it's good business. So why not do the business with your own people?
What's going on, fam? We are back with another episode of Afronomics. My name is Llewellyn Dixon, and you know we got
C-Todd Mbuya. What up? What up? What up? Yeah, I had to do something, man. I couldn't just. I had to do something. You thought I was just gonna say my name and just like,
I wasn't ready for that.
What up? What up? What up? What up? I throw some more.
Huh?
I was just throw some more.
Go ahead.
I already did it.
Oh, okay.
All right, continue.
Now we got my boy.
What up? What up?
I was waiting for it.
You can't trust me, damn it.
I knew you were gonna do some
better
stuff. I knew it. That's why I was waiting. Now we got my boy Mamulu here. Well, I call him Mamulu. Bro, I don't even know what you. It's one of those things where, because we know each other on a person, I don't even know what your professional name. I don't know what people call you. I call him Mamulu. I'll let him introduce himself as his professional title name, but he is the founder of the Yield Group, a fellow Liberian, doing big things, investing, traveling the world. And so he's going to talk to us today about, all the different things that he's doing with his business, and just in general to teach us a little bit more about investing and how he goes about doing what he does. So, brother, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. HMM with the gold around his neck.
That's gold, by the way.
That's gold.
He give you the rundown.
Super gold.
Yeah, it's real gold. Liberian gold. Ain't no play.
Yeah,
No
people, friends, like good friends call me Mamalu. People tend to not care about my first nor middle name, but in my professional setting, people call me Moses. So that's what I tend to go by professionally. But my mom, when she gets upset with me, she calls me Henry, which is my first name.
Oh,
so
yeah.
There we go, Henry Moses Mamulu. But a lot of people call me Mamulu, and others call me Moses.
Yeah, I knew this guy for years before I knew his first name was Henry.
Yeah, he don't look like a Henry.
He don't look like a Henry. I saw Henry. I was like, oh, okay, cool. We can go with that.
Yeah. So, I'm an investor. This head I have on actually, Jago, is one of my pride joys investments. It's one of those ones. The founder, Frederick, he's Nigerian. He came to America when he was 16, taught himself how to code, and he's built a holistic energy company. Jago is, in my personal belief, an Afro luxury brand. They build everything from autonomous and electric vehicles to power pods and solar panels. So everything energy, Jago has the capacity to build and facilitate the needs of a community or a country, for that matter. I invested into them 2 years ago, or almost 3 years ago. And I got in at a $10 million valuation. It's currently at a $40 million valuation. They have their electric vehicles. They have a few of them already sold on the continent of Africa. So, I'm pretty proud and excited about this investment in particular. But that's what I do for a living. I invest in startups, and I also invest in commodities like gold and cocoa. And I'm getting back into the rubber space.
Of course, you're Liberian.
Right.
That's dope. Like, that's real dope. I'm very excited for this conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's right up your alley.
Right up my alley. Right up my alley. But before we get into all of that, your investments and your story, how you got from point A to point investing in tech startups, we're gonna start off with a segment called Wala.
Okay.
Wala.
you know the term, right? So while I mean it's nonsense trouble, so it's something that's like real lighthearted. It's a different topic every single episode. Like we ain't repeated yet, and I just come up with it. So and Llewellyn don't even know because
I'm just
I can't trust him. So I got to make sure he finds out at the same time you find out. This one I think is pretty cool. So but we're gonna get into it. The topic is, what's your top 3 movies and why?
That's a great question. Top 3 movies would be Godfather 2, number one.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll probably go with House Party,
Okay.
and it's between number 3, top 3 movies. I would probably top 3 if I had to say a third one. Godfather 2, House Party, maybe Passion of the Christ. I really did dig the whole thing Mel Gibson did. I think I'll probably go Passion of the Christ, top 3.
That is some range, my boy.
Yeah, that is range. I've not seen the Passion of the Christ in a while.
Yeah.
That's a crazy movie.
That was did not see that one coming in. That was not on my bingo card.
Passion of the Christ is on my list of movies I can watch once every 10 years.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely it's like caviar. You know, you don't indulge. You just appreciate it, put it down, pick it up a little later.
Good analogy. What you say, Llewellyn?
Dang, I love movies. That's crazy. I'm doing this based off of movies that one I either have seen, can watch whenever and never get tired of it, or I can probably quote a majority of the movie. So Remember the Titans is at the top of that list. I love that movie.
Me too.
I love that movie.
Strong side.
Yeah, that's my joint. But I was watching the other day and I was like, dang, I really do know most of this movie. Like I can quote the movie. Remember the Titans. Between Bad Boys 1 and 2, I love those 2 movies. I can't figure out what they back and forth. I don't know.
It's always that third one that be the struggle.
Because that's it. You got it. Because right now it's between. I love Pursuit of Happiness, Hitch, and Great Debaters. Those are because these are all movies I can just watch and never get tired of. I love romantic comedies too, so I'm gonna say Great Debaters.
Great Debaters.
I'm gonna say Great Debaters. I love.
I ain't gonna front. I'm a sucker for romantic comedy, especially 80s, like 16 Candles or
90s romantic comedies are dope.
Breakfast Club. Even Mean Girls. I definitely do.
I do like
get a thrill out of romantic comedies.
Yeah,
I never seen you. The 3 he just named, I never seen.
You never seen. Do you watch romantic comedies though?
Yeah.
You watch the black ones like Love Jones.
I've never seen Love Jones.
Yeah, you probably watch The Wood.
Yeah,
The Wood is actually my number 1. That's my top 1. The Wood is number 1.
I'm not surprised. I'm actually not surprised.
That's one of my favorite. Like The Wood, that's my jam.
You probably like Best Man too.
I think I only seen The Best Man once, but I wouldn't put it up there. It's not one of my favorites, I'll say. Actually, no. The Wood is number 2. My favorite movie is actually City of God. It's just
City of God is a great one. It's a great one.
I've heard of it. I ain't seen that one.
It's just based in Brazil, like in the favelas.
Yeah.
But it's like about the drug and like it's violent, but it's not like glorified violence. Like it's like
who's in it?
Nobody you would know.
You wouldn't know. It's
like they got real people from the favelas.
Indie movie. It's an indie movie, but it's an incredible movie, incredible storyline.
Yeah, but a better storyline than Shotters.
Shotters was a terrible storyline.
it was just shooting like.
Nah, Shotters had a great storyline. Just had terrible acting.
But yeah, no. See, so it's like they didn't really even they got people from like the favelas, like the actual hood and slums.
Oh, really?
To act in the movie, yeah, they got like actual people, and it's like completely in Portuguese.
Let me ask y'all a question. Y'all ever heard of Johnny Mad Dog. I love indie movies. I love indie movies. You ever heard of Johnny Mad Dog?
No,
This sounds familiar, but I've
no,
never seen it.
that sound like a cheap liquor.
Low key or a club,
Bro,
like a
it's if you are a fan of war or a fan of
Johnny Mad
gangster
Dog.
films, this is like the to me how I list my movies is about the emotional component. Did I feel like I was the person in the movie? Did I want to be the person in the movie? Was I affected by the person in the movie? That's how I judge the level of grade when it comes to like my favorites. So Johnny Mad Dog would be maybe in my top 10, but it's about the Liberian War during Charles Taylor's rise before he becomes president. And Johnny Mad Dog is a child soldier. It looked like a day in the life more than a movie. The most authentic African film I've ever seen.
Wow,
It's a
really?
French production, but it's absolutely incredible.
Okay, I'll
all
check
right,
it out.
yeah,
I
that's,
just looked
yeah,
it
that's
up.
something to check out.
You didn't say your other two. You said no. You didn't say your last one.
Oh yeah. So it's City of God, The Wood. Then the third one, of course, is gonna be The Challenge. Um, it might have to be Hitch. Like
Hitch is up there.
Hitch is good.
Watch
Yeah, Hitch is
I
good.
can watch
Up
Hitch
there.
whenever it comes on.
And Hitch is another movie that I know the entire movie for.
Right,
Like I know it. Like well, I love for some reason, and nobody ever catches this joke when I say it. When Will Smith he put homie in the arm lock and he was like, "I will break you off if you ever touch me again." Okay, Pumpkin.
No, the one I always do is my favorite scene is the dancing scene to the Q-tip.
Oh yeah, he was like
to the
Yeah.
Q-tip. To the
Oh, yeah,
Q-tip.
yeah.
Throw it away. Yes. I love that movie.
Good times.
All
Good
right,
times.
yeah.
Wait. Speaking of which, my man, were you born in Liberia?
Yeah. So I was born in Providence, Rhode Island, but I
Okay.
moved to Liberia in 1999.
Okay. How long were you there for?
I was there until the war started again, so 2000, almost like beginning of 2001.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Then I
So-
moved back. Then I moved back in 2005.
All right. So, tell us how you got into investing. Like what made you decide to get into that as a career?
So it's based off this conversation we were just having during the Wahala segment, the movies. If you were to ask me what was my top 4 movies, the fourth one I would have probably picked is Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps. So I graduated from college in 2012. This movie comes out in 2010. Simultaneously, my business class, the biggest conversation we were having at that time in 2011 was Occupy Wall Street. And Occupy Wall Street, if you remember, after the market crash, people were losing their homes, the market went down. But what happened afterwards was a lot of retirees were losing their 401ks. So a lot of people were occupying Wall Street for like, I think 8 to 9 months. So this conversation just kept going for my entire duration of my senior year from 2011, 2012. So simultaneously, the movie Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, starring Michael Douglas and Shia LaBeouf, it goes from the movie theaters to the dollar movie. So one day I just go and watch it, and Shia LaBeouf, I wanted to be him. Whatever it was he was doing, that's what I wanted to do. So coming out of college, I just started researching investing, what was trading, and all these different things. And my grandfather and I were like kind of like reconnecting in a sense. And this is about as deep as I'll get with my family. So back into the 50s and the 60s, my great grandfather and his lovely wife built a 2,000-acre rubber farm, and it supported my entire grandfather and his siblings. They all went to college off of this rubber farm. My grandfather ends up working for Firestone and so on and so forth. But the war comes, destroys everything. war destroys everything. I feel like Llewellyn's family will all come to America. So my grandfather moves back to Liberia in like like the early 2000s. He moved back to Liberia and he starts up a rubber farm again. Builds 300 acres, and he does it with his other two siblings. So knowing what my grandfather was doing, that was my introduction into the investing space. So I started to research agriculture and research like different commodities being traded, and that just went from there. Started investing in Liberia for myself, doing cocoa. That wasn't successful, but that's how I got into it.
Cool. I know you got questions. It's your thing.
Yeah, right. Okay, so like you get started. What does that look like when you were first getting started? Like, how did you figure out what research did you do, and like how did you pull the capital together to get started? Did you raise money?
No, so my 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 mother was really excited that I was excited about reinvesting in Liberia, doing something in Liberia. So she had some farmland, that she was more than willing to let me work with. So I just was saving money, put it to the side. Had a job working in IT. I was making roughly 60 grand a year that time. But I was sending like $400 a month to Liberia, and I started to network. This is
Yeah.
a lot of people use social media for the wrong thing, but I started to really network on social media. I started like really digging into who's doing what, and I ended up getting in contact with a guy he's like a master in cocoa, and he's a partner of mine to this day. And we started working together. And like I said, there's a lot that went on that didn't make us successful, but he's successful on his own in his own right. I realized that a um I wasn't a CEO or I wasn't an operator. I really was an investor. I have the stomach to spot talent, invest in that talent. But for me to open up a company and run the company, it's not my strong suit. And a lot of people aren't humble enough to admit that. So that's how I got back into the investing world. I removed myself from the operations and started more so on the investing and the trading side.
That's a great point, like excellent point that most people don't ever realize. Like when you're doing business, it's a team sport. So like
Yep.
if there and there's different positions. So if you're not the guy that needs to be like CEO or needs to be operator, that doesn't mean that you can't participate and you can't win. But you have
Hmm.
realized that you got that skill set. And I think that really is helpful a role that a lot of us can play by being overseas. Because trying to operate a business long distance can be a such a pain.
That
But
was
if you
that, that
can
was my hiccup.
understand,
That was the hiccup. If
yeah,
I was there, things could have been a lot better. But then you gotta take in consideration the lifestyle you want. And
right,
if you're not willing to have that lifestyle match the work, then you shouldn't try to be a CEO from overseas.
yeah, no, excellent point. Yeah, no. So now with that, how did you, how did that partnership look? When you find people that are investing or doing the operation, how's that partnership look like? Like, what do you bring to the table? What do they bring to the table? And how do you evaluate them as a partner?
In this story specifically, I get the farmland. I'm raising the capital or putting down the capital for it. And now as a CEO, I'm looking for the talent to fulfill the farm needs. So this guy who I still work with today, he comes in and he's the cocoa expert. Like he knows everything about it. The problem I personally had was the local talent that was around my farmland were completely arrogant and selfish. They didn't they like Africa is super tribalistic. And the problem we were having was that the tribe that dominated our farmland did not appreciate an outsider coming into this farmland. So he was having a complex issue about being able to train these people because these people were intentionally undermining the training.
So
That
how were you able to
that was the issue.
overcome that?
That was the issue. And the only way I could have combated that if I was there and I would have found and I would have gotten people that he picked to come to my farm, live on my farm, work on my farm with his training. That would have been more costly.
Right. Yeah.
The people who worked on my farm originally already lived around there, so I didn't have to pay them to live there. So now I got to find housing for new people, bring them in, bust them in, and do everything else. It was entirely too costly for the agriculture. So I got out of that field and I got into energy. So my parents and I everybody has a generator in Liberia. So they had this huge generator though that we used to supply a lot of homes. So essentially we were selling electricity to people, and our customers were only wanting 1 or 2 kilowatts per home. So it was super easy to do. But COVID, with the energy crisis, the oil crisis, the business couldn't survive. It just came too expensive for gas.
Okay. So with the businesses that you have had success with, like it seems like Jago is one of them. What separates that business from the other endeavors that you got into?
I'm not hands on. I'm exclusively an investor.
Got you. Okay.
And I'm an advisor. So I'm not hands on with this business. My intellect doesn't play doesn't play a great role. It plays a strong role, but not a great role. Like me as an investor doesn't change Frederick's capabilities to raise capital, doesn't change his capabilities to perform at a high and efficient level. So it definitely is more relaxed, less pressure, and the things that I can't control, I don't try to control them. So it's a great place to be when I'm exclusively an investor / advisor. And as an advisor, what I personally do is like I network with, like I was just in Kenya, for instance. And while I was in Kenya, I had the luxury to meet with the brother to the president of Kenya. I'm friends with his daughter, and I got to meet the uncle or the brother to the president. So what I'll be doing there is bringing Jago as a energy company to Kenya. That's one of the things that's one of the business models I have as an advisor. Is you kind of morph into a consulting firm where you're doing a bit of lobbying for different companies to go in different industries or different markets. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And while you're talking, man, it seems like you have a really good sense of self-awareness, to know exactly where you fit, and you're not trying to do too much. You're not trying to you do just enough for what you know works for you and works to get work done.
I've lost so much goddamn money. Not
Exactly.
I better be aware about myself. I don't pay the price for it.
A lot of people, and I appreciate you sharing the moments where you actually like failed at the beginning and was like, you know what, this didn't work out. I had to switch and call a different kind of play to really make it move, because I think people think just because they step out, they make an investment or whatever, that it's gonna be it's gonna be money from here on out, and just rolling in the riches.
not some of us are Yao Ming and Shaq, man. We're just born with it. The others, a lot of us are Kobe Bryant. We're not that exceptional when it comes to the space we're in. So we got to work twice as hard, and we got to be diligent about our decision making. You know, that's why I really can appreciate Kobe more than ever, because he wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the strongest in his physical attributes, but his level of discipline, he stuck to what he knew, and he did that. That's what made him exceptional, you know.
Yeah, I talked about that before. Like, Kobe Bryant versus LeBron. LeBron is 6'8", 2 whatever. Like, he was the size of an NFL
Yeah,
linebacker coming out of
he's
high
a
school.
freak.
He worked very hard, but yeah, like a freak. Like, he was built in the lab. But Kobe managed to be one of the greatest players of all time through just sheer effort and want to. And that's like how you got to approach business, because like a lot of it is going to come from failure. Things aren't going to just come naturally in most business endeavors, but you got to embrace the failure, especially if you're doing something that's going to be, a little more risky, of investing overseas where you may not be present, and you got to find ways to be able to still do well and partner with the right people. You got to be able to learn from failure, instead of, most people don't make it in business because they fail once
Yeah.
and then they stop. But the failure brings so much knowledge and learning that you could then apply to the next opportunity, and you might fail again, but there's more learning with that. So like at some point, you just accumulate knowledge and know-how that you can just leverage into it. Like at some point, you're gonna be successful. So you just gotta look at it with that long-term view.
You absolutely do. Like what I've learned is that like you can start a business today, right? And you look and you need money for the business. What I learned is I don't invest in companies, I invest in processes. How do you do what it is that you claim to do? Is it efficient enough? Is it fast enough? Is it cost effective enough? That's where the sweet spot is. So a lot of people think that because you have a company and your company even makes money, that is worth an investment. But when you remove the dollar amounts and you start looking at the processes, is your process efficient? Is this the best way to go? This is why I don't invest in social media companies, even though like right now they all are way overvalued. But I don't get the difference between uploading a picture on Instagram versus Facebook. It's like it's all videos being on the internet. So the process to me doesn't that I don't see the competitive advantage. Now, if I was just ignorant and just did it, I would have been rich regardless. But I tend to look for processes that make sense in changing the way we live. So that's something that I think a lot of people don't, because you can fail all day long, but if you don't develop a process to mitigate your failures, then you're just going to keep failing.
Mm. That's fair.
Yeah, no, that's real. It's 100%. You gotta uh, learn the knowledge of where you went wrong, and then apply that knowledge. And
Right.
like to your point, everything in business is process. Because what you can do is that's cool, but what you can do repeatedly and reliably, that's how you actually have a
That's where the sweet
business.
spot is.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where the sweet spot is.
Is the yield group your main source of being able to invest? That's the company you use to invest in, or is that
Yeah.
something? Is that another? Okay. What I'm sure you're multifaceted, brother. So I'm sure you got other ventures going on
Yeah,
that you can
the
talk
yield
about. What
group
else?
started out as an exclusive investment vehicle. Like I'll just use this as an LLC to invest in other companies. So the yield group started out as an angel simulator where I will get different angel investors. Because I was broke. I was flat broke when I made my first when I invested in Jago. I was flat broke. I actually raised money to invest in Jago. So I brought a whole bunch of different investors under the yield group and got the yield group on the cap table. But from there, it's just morphed into different things. So like I'm having conversations with the yield group. A lot of investors are on. A lot of people who are looking to invest are on, and the conversation just kept going in different ways. Where it's now got me partners in Miami, got me partners in London. And it's just and me delivering. It has just continued to expand my business, where it went from investing to consulting, lobbying under some certain conditions, and now even somewhat politics. Like I was approached. I haven't fully accepted it yet, but I was approached to work with someone who is running for president in an African country. And with the elections is within the next 18 months. So it's definitely picked up some legs.
Oh, that's very interesting. So like is your focus in African markets
The
or
focus is African
like
markets for sure. Like I want to have a presence in Africa. I want to have a presence in
okay.
Africa. I want to be influential in Africa for sure.
All right, and speak on that because we understand the value of why you would want to have an investment firm that focuses on African businesses and African startups, but some of our viewers may not be aware. So, like, speak on why you think that that's a great way to invest and how you're able to bring in investors that are like-minded.
The African continent is super young for one. The consumer base is growing. Like I I remember when I lived in Liberia, the lack of exposure my cousins had in certain circumstances, but they all knew how to use social media. And that says a lot that these people, this economy, for an example, which is not a rarity, it's a lot of economies in Africa that are like this. They're strongly agricultural based, but yet the underbellies of the society have the ability to go from agriculture automatically to technology because of the cell phone usage. So there's a lot of upside when it comes to technology being implemented on the continent. And I'm not the only one who's seen it. Europe is seeing it, Asia is seeing it, and a lot of people are trying to grab up the market share as quickly as possible. There's a ton of upside. The Africa is predominantly beach, is predominantly on the ocean. It's for sale. Land is for sale in Africa. There's a lot that can be done, and it's very affordable. I've always been. I'm a proud Liberian. I'm a proud African, but I was raised to be Pan-African. I've always saw the Black diaspora as one, and especially being Liberian, having our history with the Western world. We're the only country on the planet that's actually a Black country. If every other country is either a Black Caribbean country, it's a Black African country, but it's not necessarily a Black country. Liberia is made up of Black Americans, Black Caribbeans, and indigenous Africans. At our core, we're a Black culture. It's in our food, it's in our fashion, it's in the music that we embody all of the Black diaspora. And for me, that cultural value, I've always believed we should be working in the diaspora with Africa. It's I would want to tell the Africans who were born in the US or born in Europe, or the Caribbean, or the Black Caribbeans, or the Black Hispanics, or the Black Americans for that matter. I would encourage them to invest in Africa, not because Africa needs it, but it's a cheat code to building Black wealth. Europeans are doing it. Europeans been doing it. Asians are doing it. And it's not because it's a mean or evil thing to do. because it's good business. So why not do the business with your own people?
Yeah, that's a word. That's a word. And that's exactly why we have this platform. Because, you know, a lot of it is exposure. The media has put things in people's minds to where they don't even, we as the people who are most equipped to be able to invest and take advantage of the opportunity, we have the least interest out of everybody because of the way we view Africa a lot of times. And it's definitely getting better,
Yeah,
don't get
for
me
sure.
wrong. You know, between Afro beats and people like really taking trips to Ghana and South Africa and what we're seeing on social media, it's improving, but we're still kind of last to the party. So, you know, it's past due. It's time that we really start doing what we need to do to be a part of it and really lead that pack. So I love what you're doing. Especially that, you know, you're doing it from a investor hands off perspective, because I believe that model can be replicated. Because a lot of us in the diaspora have access to capital. Like the US, I believe the black American population, if it was one country, would be top 30 in terms of GDP,
Hmm.
like top 30 countries. Like there's huge spending power in Black America, and if you could find ways to do what you're doing, replicate it, pull investors together, and then start investing in companies, then one, we can develop technology, develop business, develop real estate in our country, so Africa in our continent, so Africa gets to develop, Africa gets to improve, but at the same time we own it. So not only we build wealth with that, but we also control how the development is done, and it's done in a way that's beneficial for us, as opposed to a lot of the development is predatory. When Europe comes, they come with an agenda and they want to siphon resources out. Same with China and like other countries that, you know, it's purely economic and it's usually in their favor. But we can do it where it's mutually beneficial to all of us in the diaspora. So no, I love what you're doing, and you know this platform is built for people like you and just give you exposure so other people can do the same thing.
I appreciate this. Thank you.
Would would you ever see yourself funding or helping to fund like nonprofits or community organizations if that's not something you're already doing?
Yeah, it's something I'm already doing. I tend to keep stuff like that quiet. I don't know. I'm pro-capitalist, and so I tend to not want to taint the nonprofits I'm associated with my point of view. But yeah,
Okay,
I
Fair
am.
enough.
that's fair enough. As a nonprofit guy myself, I'm going to say thank you on their behalf for that for that because the mission must go on. But in that regard, then what are some I guess what are some of those, not you don't have to say the organizations or even like things that will give them away, but what are some of those causes that matter to you, that mean something to you, that kind of got you wanting to even fund those things?
It's community development. To be honest with you, like I don't know. It's like why how can you be comfortable being a millionaire in an African country where you see a child helping to sell dry fish with their mother, or selling rubber slippers, or it's just there's certain basic things kind of just frustrates me, and it just doesn't feel good. Just doesn't feel good to see it. Just doesn't feel good to see the level of poverty that a lot of African people are just experiencing. So a lot of the nonprofits I work with are are in Liberia, but I definitely don't want to say any names for
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
one thing leads to another. But yeah, community development is something that I'm truly passionate about.
Awesome, man. So we're running out of time, but we got one more question we like to ask all of our guests. I'm gonna let my boy do it because that's his thing.
Oh, yeah. So one thing we like to do for people in the diaspora that maybe have never been, we like to ask our guests, what would you recommend? Like if somebody's taking their first trip, it could be Liberia or any other African country you've been to. What would you recommend as a good like thing that should experience? It could be a restaurant to try or a site to go see. Like what would you recommend?
Well, I would in Africa or in general.
In Africa specifically.
Cause yeah, you've traveled all over Africa, so
Okay,
yeah, the
so
Africa.
I would tell I got I got many. many responses, but for people in diaspora, I would always say Liberia for the exclusive fact that your history continues there. For the Black American, for the Jamaican, for the one from Barbados, your history continues to Liberia. There's someone in your bloodline who said that I want to go back home, or I want to make Liberia my home, or Africa my home. And they went with the courage to build Black America or Jamaica or the Barbados in Africa. And you can go to this day, you can go to Liberia in the countryside, and you can still see a lot of what we will call today Congo towns, of these homes that look exactly like the 1800s in America. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful site. Like Carisburg is a prime example where or you can still go to these countrysides and still see um, these beautiful homes that were built in the 1800s or built in the early 1900s. But if you're not for all of that, I would definitely recommend Kenya. Kenya is a gorgeous city. I mean, it's a gorgeous country. Nairobi is a gorgeous city. The weather is perfect. The weather is absolutely perfect. It is the best weather I've ever experienced in Africa. It wasn't too hot. It gets a great breeze. I love Nairobi. And Banjul, Gambia.
Oh,
That place is a gem. I would hate to find out that I blew up their spot and y'all just polluted. That's how that's how clean it was when I was last there. Everybody, they're the most friendly human beings I've ever met. Because fact, they have the greatest social capital because by culture, it is practice that individuals leave their homes with something with the intent to give it to someone else.
really?
So yeah, so Omar might wake up and bake some bread with the sole intent to pass that bread on to someone else along the road. And if everybody is doing that, it helps eliminate poverty at a significant rate. So or the presence of it, not necessarily eliminate it, but the presence of it. I didn't see a slum when I was in Gambia. I didn't see one slum. I can't say that by any other country. But when I was in Gambia, I didn't see one slum.
That's crazy.
Hmm.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
and that's new. That's something
Yeah.
I never knew.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was powerful, man. That's dope. Um, but yeah, man. We're wrapping up. But any last words you want to say to the people?
To the people, follow me on Instagram at Moses.Mamulu, Mamulu. And I just want to tell you all thank you for this conversation. This is what we need. This is definitely what we need. I saw one when y'all had like I think it was a Black American chick on here giving her perspective about going to Africa and why. It's like the conversation has to be had. Like it's so divisive now. We're always at odds with each other, and some people will have good experiences. Some people have bad experiences, but the opportunities outweigh anything negative. It's
Yeah.
just too much opportunities for us to miss out on. Like this moment in time, Africa is going through a resurgence. It is going through a phase where we are coming out of European imperialism. A lot of these countries, people don't understand, and tell me if I'm being too long-winded. People don't understand. A lot of these countries have these colonial laws, and we are coming out of some of these countries. Colonial laws go from 50 to 100 years. A lot of people are breaking out of that 50-year mark. Liberia, even though we weren't colonized, we have we have 100-year agreements
Yeah.
with America, and our colony was founded in the 40s. Like we're coming out of a lot of people coming out of those colonial those colonial time frames where we had these people in the West have the exclusive rights to certain goods. Next 20 years, it's going to be an open market. This is why there's a huge influx of Asians coming in, because the tide is changing. The tide is changing. And what we're seeing with Burkina Faso and Mali and now Senegal, people are not waiting. They're not waiting. They're not waiting for the 100-year mark or the 50-year mark to get their rights back, to get their financial rights back, or get their trade rights back. This is a perfect time. It is a perfect time to capitalize on what's going on when it comes to the economics of Africa.
Well said.
Mic drop.
Right.
Mic drop. Man, brother, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. That's another episode of Afronomics, fam. We're always happy to bring you great content. If you know anybody who you want to have us interview or be a guest on the show, if you want to be a guest on the show, shoot us a DM. Let us know. In the meantime, like, subscribe, follow,
Comment.
tell 10 people, comment, drop some emojis, tell us your 3 favorite movies. Tell us, give us 5. It don't matter. And also go see go to Gambia, because I'm probably gonna book a ticket to go tomorrow anyway. So,
hey, man. I'll tell you right now. You go to Gambia, you might not want to come back.
Hey, that's the rules.
I tell you that right now.
That's
All right. Good
that's
to
the
know.
rules. All right, fam. Afronomics out.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Yeah,
bro.
appreciate you.